Alright, Rebellion. Before we get started, there's something I got to address. A few things, actually. I got to do this for myself. Guys, I've said this more than a few times before, but I haven't done it lately because no one has been doing it too much. But I got to remind people, please, don't tell me too much of what's going to happen. Dirt sheets are nice to hear, but please, don't tell me too much of what's going to happen at a pay-per-view, or in this case, their premium live event. But you get my point. Don't tell me who might come in. I don't want to know. And also, for one person, you know who you are. You always leave me a sonnet, and I know what you said about deleting your own comments. You choose to do that, that's you. But I gotta say this. You're happy to hear that Tessa Blanchard may come back to TNA. I'm not. Wanna know why? Wow. How the problems with AJ Lee over there, or in basically AJ Lee or April, CM Punk's wife. Also, what happened in AAA? If you know who you are, the one left me to sign it. If you've forgotten, she had trouble in Women of Wrestling, and she's had trouble in AAA, the reason she left. Now, I'm not saying that it's all her fault. On both of them, there's probably something. But you got to admit, since there has been issues, she has some problems. Flat out, wherever she goes, there is a problem. There is a flat out problem. I'm sorry. That's just the deal. And for me, I don't want to see her in TNA right now. It's too soon to have someone who's very controversial there that might not give them any traction. Having another woman there will make me happy, but not a woman that's going to cause such controversy and worse, not give us anything, because she's not like a CM Punk. If CM Punk had gone to not WWE, but TNA, yes, he would be controversial, but he would bring traction. He would bring eyeballs on the product. Tessa will not. She will not bring eyeballs to the product in that respect. That her controversy would be not as much overshadowed by her presence. So I don't want to see her there if she's controversial, a problem, and it does not give anything to the company or the other wrestlers. I'm just saying that. Now, let's get to this show. We got a lot of content here. We had 11 matches. I believe it was 11. We had 3 matches on the kickoff show. Yeah. And then we had 8 on the main card. It's a lot of matches. Now, one match in the kickoff show pissed my ass off completely. Flat out, I got angry. Flat out angry. But I'll explain when I get to that match. First match, 6-man tag, ABC with Slater. I don't remember his first name. And Rascals with Reed. Now, he is originally from MLW. I had seen him maybe once or twice. At least he had some character in MLW. We have not seen anything from him, and we've not seen anything from Slater. So anyone who says, dude, they're both great, you need to watch. I'm not going to check YouTube for any snippets, no highlights, nothing. These guys got to be booked by TNA. I don't want to hear anyone say you got to watch them on YouTube, so you really like them. No. That's not my responsibility to go to YouTube and watch clips of them. My responsibility is to watch TNA and see how they book them to make them interesting to me. I don't care about their past. I care about how they're going to be booked now. The matches were, well, how can I explain matches when it's in a 6-man tag? You got 2 types of matches going on there. You got the regular guys that you normally see, the Rascals, as well as ABC. And then you got Slater and Reed. And how they interact with them. And to be honest, Reed was better than Slater. Flat out, I'm sorry. Slater was sloppy. Doesn't matter about the Swanton 450. And it was a cool move. But if you compare Slater to Reed, Reed looked a bit more smooth with his work when he was working with the Rascal. When you see Slater, he's sloppy as hell. He was sloppy. At one point, he put a knee to someone's head as he did the move. Sorry, he did. it was sloppy. Now, I don't expect that to last long because he probably wasn't familiar working with any of them much. So, seeing this is not uncommon for a wrestler who works somewhere else to have to get used to the people he's with. But to say that this guy was great, no. I will say at least Reed wasn't as sloppy. At least he was familiar enough with most of the guys there that he didn't hurt anybody or didn't look bad. But Slater did. In the end, the faces win. ABC and Slater won. But the question now is, and this is why I don't want to hear someone say, dude, you need to watch YouTube and clips on this guy, he's great. Doesn't mean crap. What are they going to do now? How are they going to book him? Are we going to be seeing them going forward? Are we going to see Slater and Reed going forward? Because if we don't, I don't want to see no snippets, because what's the point of watching someone who's not on TV? I'm just saying. I'm telling you that. I don't care. Moving on. The match that got me angry, gotta say this, the Digital Media Championship. And someone left a comment saying, dude, you know who you are. Saying, you know what? We need another title so European wrestlers and Spanish wrestlers or Mexican wrestlers can go for a title. That's what the X Division is for. You don't ask for that. You already got an X Division title. That title is for that. But they made it into a mid-card title because they never had a mid-card title. Now they got the Digital Media Championship, which is now the lower card title. So you don't need another title. You got 3. We're going to have 4. And one of them is supposed to do the other job. Makes no sense. My hope... let me give it to you like this. The match was not the problem here. It was a good match. Camera work, and I got to say this right now, the camera work was actually quite good throughout the entire show. The lighting was pretty decent as well. As long as it's standard lighting and camera work, you can see the ring. Now, is it angles that you like? No. Particularly that the cameramen are like this. Where the ramp is, this is where the ramp is. One of them is still here. The other one's here. And instead of the guy moving around like this to be able to give us a better view and variation, he always stayed right here. So we still get the same stupidness where TNA will always have 2 guys that will stay like this or like this at the rings. They don't like going around, and they don't like going around. What the fuck's wrong with them? This is not about camera material. I mean, this get me angry. This is not about the cameras themselves. They do deserve better camera work, better cameras. But the camera work itself is garbage. Anybody said they need better cameras for production? It's not just the camera. It's about the training. You want to see what's going on in the ring. Why the work cameramen who must have stomachs like this are just standing there doing fucking nothing? Get new cameramen to actually be willing to move around. Because if you look at both cameramen, they were like this. I'm not against fat guys. I'm not against fat girls. But you are the one who's running the cameras. You should be moving around. You look at WWE, AEW, even when it came to NWA, the cameramen would move around. They would move. These guys want to stay right here or want to stay right here. They don't want to do shit. That shows you how production is. This is not just that they need better cameras. Hell, they can get steady cams that they use in movies. Which is what? $200,000, $100,000. They can blow the money on getting 2 cameras, steady cameras that WWE is using so they can be able to get it and be seen. No, they don't want to do that. So if you're not going to put the budget in, at least tell your cameramen, fucking move. Don't stay like this. But this is what made me angry, and it's involving the cameramen and the people in the production truck. Because once Dorado Kid won, and I was actually happy. Finally, they decided to throw a title on this guy, even if it's the lowest tier title. I don't care. He deserved it after all these years. He's been a loyal wrestler that has been coming back to TNA, Impact Wrestling when it was called that, for years. He almost died, and he still came back to TNA. When he probably could stay in AAA, he still wanted to come to TNA. But guess what? He finally gets a title. Finally. But if you notice on the kickoff show, instead of them switching the camera to show the man's face with the damn title. They refuse to do it. This I'm not even showing an image of him. It's not even worth an image of showing the match itself or Draga. Or I'm getting angry about this. I'm getting Draga and Dorado Kid mixed up. You can see how angry I am. I am fucking pissed off. This was wrong. After all these years, you should have gave this guy a moment where he could be seen, where you're making the story about him, but you don't want to even show him. You're showing him like this. When the camera, and the only thing I had to do was just tell the cameraman, hey, swing around and see him in the face. They didn't want to fucking do it. So they failed in camera work today. Even though you could see what's going on generally in the ring, it failed. They even did this with Matt Hardy when he showed up, and I'll get to that in a minute. But still, they refused to even do what was right. Moving on, final match. The Knockouts Tag Title. Spitfire versus Decay. Now, let's make it very clear. Seeing the singer from Rancid there, and knowing that Jody Threat, just like Ruby Soho, met the guy, they're both, Ruby Soho and Jody Threat, love punk rock. And they met the guy who did Rancid. The one that literally defined a generation. I've never been into punk rock. I haven't been. I've heard a couple of songs over the years. Sometimes it's a special song that will get me, or it won't. It can be a hit and miss when it comes to music. Rock, punk, pop, funk, even trance or electronic music. It's gotta hit me. Punk sometimes a hit and miss. But you got two women, Ruby Soho and Jody Threat, who are now friends with a guy that is one of the most iconic people in punk rock. I like that. And this also reminds me, when it comes to the beginning of the show, I should have said this earlier, but I forgot. Now talking about him. When you look at how TNA has done this, the opening of the show, not having someone sing this Star Spangled Banner, but to play it on guitar, that was different. And this goes along with the show itself. Seeing that the guy from Rancid was there because of Jody Threat was fine. Seeing that they managed to retain, that was good. I'm glad that DK did not win, because I didn't think DK should win. Particularly, they just don't have enough women there to do anything. Now that you don't have Killer Kelly there, at least until after the match was over. And then we see Marshall Slamovich now with Alicia Edwards, which they have been setting up, and now they got that there. So it is good to see a third team there, but to be honest, and this is still a problem when it comes to TNA, why do we only have 3 teams? Why? Why can't you do exactly what should be done, like MLW would do, or NWA would do? Why don't you bring in some women to do singles matches, and then do tag matches? Just bring them in on some tapings, let the women do singles matches by themselves, and let the women tag together after that, so you make the division feel more full. You'll be able to make the women's, the Knockouts tag division and the Knockouts main division feel more full when you bring in women to do double duty. Yes, it will be a bit repetitive seeing the same women more than a few times, but at least you'll feel like there's someone there. 3 teams feels empty. This isn't like 2003 or 2010 when you only had the Motor City Machine Guns and Generation Me, or Motor City Machine Guns, or 3D, or Motor City Machine Guns, or Beer Money. Always, they had 2 teams, just 2 teams, when they could have more and just brought in more, and they didn't. That was back then, and it was very popular. People didn't mind there only being 2 teams that you spotlighted. But we're in 2024. People want to see variation. People want to see variety. And you keep doing the same thing you did 14 years ago that you should not be doing now. It's one of the problems that TNA has. They're not willing to do more with outside workers. There's no pandemic interfering this time. You should be doing it. Moving on. Main card. Jake Something versus Mustafa. I know his name is Mustafa. He likes to be called Mustafa, but I like Mustafa. I'm sorry. That's just how I am. Mustafa Ali coming in as Ali We Trust is good. I like the gimmick. I like seeing him in this type of gimmick, having the security guards or his Secret Service, his SS. I know that doesn't sound right. I'm sorry. I know saying SS is not something you want to hear when it comes to that. I'm sorry. If you don't know, you're going to have to look at World War II and the SS for that. Yes, the American Secret Service does have SS, but some people may have that thought just to make sure you understand historically what I'm talking about. But seeing security was there, they tried to help him. His Secret Service tried to help him and made sure when he did his first 450 on the Jake something that he was going to win, but he didn't. They had to help him a lot. And seeing how Jake something was so damn dominant was great. And I liked it. And I gotta say this, before the match even happened. Seeing that there were protesters for a Ali, and I haven't forgotten that. And it was Diener who had to drive them out. I understand the protesters, but seeing that Diener was there, and it makes it very confusing because Diener and Jake are not together. They're just not. They're not. If anybody says we're getting the Dieners again, and they're not. Jake is not acting like a Diener anymore. But seeing that they're not really talking to each other, we got no context of these two even wanting to interact with each other. And you see Diener there makes you imply, well, the Dieners are coming back, but they're not. If they do, I'll be surprised. And if they did, I think it would be a stupid idea. Because I don't want to see the Dieners. I want to see Cody Diener do something like he's doing with the fans. And like to see Jake something do something as he's doing now, being that dominant. What's my name? Like that. I don't want to see them together again. At all. You may like it. I don't think it would help them in their booking and how they'd be spotlighted. A little nostalgia is fine, but how would you book the Dieners? It's garbage. And I know if someone's going to say, well, we could have them as a tag team. We don't need them as a tag team. We need more people in the main card and the X division. I don't want to see double duty. I'm sorry, I don't. Moving on. Second match. Oh hell. This is going to be interesting. Swan versus Joe Henley. We got the Men Baby Mafia. The Men Baby Mafia, I've never heard of them before. I don't really watch rap or hip-hop or any hip-hop anymore. I rarely watch hip-hop. But I've never heard of them. Then you got one woman there who is flat as hell with a juicy booty. She got some cake. And that was played into during the match. That the guys from the MA... It's making my scalp itch. Like, how do I describe this if you have not seen it? I don't even know if I have any images of it. Other than when Joe Henry lost. And he's basically being grinded on by the woman. I don't know her name, but she's grinding his ass in a split. I don't got that split. But you can see her grinding her booty onto his... You know, she's like on this on there. I'm going like, holy shit. Are they really going there? They're trying something that different. Not even the WWE or AEW going that far. Yeah, we saw AEW a few weeks ago have a kissing with two women. You would not expect TNA to go that far when you have a woman grind a little bit on some guy's dick. That was impressive. The match itself was fine. It was like the last time. But seeing that you got all of this going on, and a friend of AJF about to throw hands in the ring, and the ref did not throw out the match. And his friend, who looked like he's going to throw hands on him, throw hands on Joe Henry. That was quite well done. And the grind, I mean, I gotta be. If I got that image, I know I got that image. It's gotta be in my face. I'm showing it again. I'm sure I've shown it already. I'm showing it again. You seen her ass on his dick. I'm sorry. This was a surprise. I was actually quite impressed and willing to go that far. I'm actually glad they did. Next, match 3, Full Metal Mayhem. This is where I got nervous at the end when you saw a little bit of what happened to Eric Young, particularly when he hit his head on the... Hold on. Was this a good Full Metal Mayhem match? It was okay. It wasn't the first one we've ever seen, but it was good. But in the end, who needed to win? Was it going to be Eric Young or was it be Kaz? It had to be Kaz. If you're going to do something with Kaz, he had to win here, which he did. But I'm not going to lie to you. That last move when Kaz won, when you saw Eric Young literally hit part of his head onto that table. He didn't land square on it. He landed sideways on it. And his head busted open instantly. I got very, very concerned. Because the way he hit that table and the way it split and the way his head split made me very nervous. I was hoping he was going to get up and move. And he did eventually get up. He got on his knees. He was all right at least. Hopefully he doesn't have a concussion. He'll be all right. But he was bleeding pretty badly. His scalp was cut right here. Not a little one here. Not a little one here. It was about this far. It was a nice... I don't even know if I got the shot. If I do, it's in my face. But it was not good. Let's move on. The next match, which was not really meant to be a match. Steve Maclin has re-signed with TNA, and he wanted several conditions. One of those conditions was he wanted a match on the show. He called out Santino, which he came out and said, you know, we could have handled this in the back, Mr. Maclin man. But as you have signed your contract, I just dealt with another one who signed his contract. And he is wanting a match like you, so he will come out. And it was Santana. I know we've already heard the rumors that Santana was coming back to TNA. Now, the thing that I had a concern with was how was TNA going to book him? Because let's make it clear, TNA have to book him well. What would be the point of him coming back without having something? Because a lot of people that come back, that we got 3 people that came back, the question is going to be, can they be booked well? I'm not expecting to have a spectacular booking, but you got to do something with these people, counting on how long their contract is, of course. If they got 6 months, 9 months, or a year or more, is how they're going to book. Let's make it clear. I know this. But since Santana's finally come back, and when it came to Tom legitimately stating that Santana had problems, he had drinking problems, he straightened himself out, it sounds like they're going to go down the train, that type of train, the road for, well, the track of, I screwed up, I was drinking, I screwed myself up, and I straightened myself up. Like when it came to Kurt Angle, when it came to Jeff Hardy, which at this moment he looks like he's okay. When it came to, well, if you look at Jon Moxley in AEW, he did that, but he stopped it before it got really bad. He's going down that road, that type of track of when we see him again, I do believe he will basically tell people what he had gone through, at least basically. The match was fine. It looked a little bit rough, particularly that Santana did get a really hard headbutt to the ear. He literally got headbutted to the ear by Maclin. That one was a bit worrisome, but he seemed to be all right. He did look stunned, but he did get up. He did work pretty well. Admittedly, I'm going to say this, as this is just my personal preference. If he was going to have the Puerto Rican flag on his person, I kind of think it should have been sewn into his clothes and not put on a little, what was that? Like a little stick or something, rubber stick or something that was attached to his clothes. If you're going to do that, I think it should be like that, because that kind of thing could be problematic. Someone could get hurt by accident. And if you say, well, it could be a soft stick, you never know what it could be. Someone could get hurt. As weird as it sounds, Even the most simplest thing can hurt you while you're in the ring doing what you do. I'm telling you the truth. It's been seen. So I kind of wish he had not have his clothes like that, but this could be a one-off. He just wanted it on him like that. So it was good to see he won. But as I said earlier, he has to have a talk in the ring. That's what's hopefully will happen on this week's Impact. But this is just me. All right. Let me give it to you like this. The weakest kind of match that was there, and it wasn't that bad. I'm going to make this clear. To me personally, it was the weakest match because of what happened this Thursday. And that was because of the... Look. Seeing the... It pisses me off that they decided to try and defend the titles this Thursday with the system. And when they do it here, made it obvious that it made it weaker. I didn't like that. I did not like to see the tag champions have to defend just before a pay-per-view. That's wrong. Flat out wrong. I don't agree with it. If it's within a few, like 3 weeks, fine. A few days is stupid. That's what we got here. And it turned me off to the match. It's not that the match quality was bad. We could see what was going on in the ring, which was good, even though the cameramen still like to be like this. They don't like to go like this. The one who really need to move, he refused, and he's like this. Big fat guy. And I'm not trying to be against someone who's big and fat. Honestly, I'm telling you. Because I used to be a big guy myself. But it pisses me off seeing that you got a guy who's holding a heavy camera, who should be moving around, and he refuses to move. He stays exactly in the same place unless he's shoved out of the way by one of the wrestlers, which did happen. A wrestler had to shove him out of the damn way to get the work done. He should know what to do, and he did. But this match just felt less than it should have been because of that match that happened. And I don't even remember who it was. I think it was the Motor City Machine Guns trying to get the title back. I'm blanking. I think it is Motor City Machine Guns this Thursday that just passed. Not ABC. I could be wrong. I just don't remember right now. But I'm telling you right now, it threw off the match for me. I didn't care because of what happened there. I expected that the system was going to win because it's just no way Speedball and Trent is going to win. They barely had any time on TV. And you're just going to throw the titles on them? No. I'm just saying. It's not that I don't like Speedball Mike Bailey or Trent Seven. It's just they've done almost nothing with them. Why are you going to throw the titles on them? I'm getting Draga mixed up with Dorado Kid because I am worried about Tessa Blanchard. Sorry. But seeing Dorado Kid, they did a special on him, and I could see him winning it, which he did. System won, but I didn't feel anything because of the match before. That's me. You guys probably liked seeing it Thursday and here, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just telling you that I don't believe it was the wisest thing to do. Moving on. Other side of the page. I don't like getting cut off when I'm in mid-sentence because I had to stop the camera. That camera was it was almost finished. It was almost finished. I'm going like, No, I don't want to lose my train of thought. Josh Alexander versus Hammerstone, the last man standing match. It was a very good last man standing match. Do I believe that Josh should have won? No. Josh didn't need to win. I'm sorry. I'm being honest here. Was it a good match? Yes, it was. Seeing that Josh cut his ear and then hearing Tom making it very clear the reason he wears the headgear is because he almost got his ear torn off. And he refused to take 6 months off to pretty much have his ear recover. And that he's been wearing that headgear ever since adds on to his character. That I'm respectful of. But do I believe he needed this win? No. Josh did not need this win. He didn't. I believe Hammerstone didn't need this win. Because he needs it because of what he's been doing. You were not willing to let Hammerstone just go through what few people you got on the roster. You were not willing to let him go through jobbers. You wanted to have this match with him. You wanted him to face Josh now. And you already made him job once. And then you had to have Hammerstone had to cheat the last time. And now Hammerstone getting a C4 spike on the damn ramp was the only way to stop him. I feel like they made a mistake with Hammerstone. I do believe that he did not need to get screwed like this. It made me think of what's going on with PCO and Khan. What is the point now? Because we will be getting to the women's, Staff Delander and Jordan Grace, that entire cluster, which was actually quite good. I didn't mind it. But seeing PCO now getting 2 wins on Khan, why are they still fighting? Why? And then hearing Todd, and I will repeat this again, saying he finally got revenge when he didn't. This is what I'm getting here. Hammerstone isn't gaining anything. What? Does he have a short-term contract with TNA? Or did he sign a whole year contract with them, or 6 months, just to job to Josh? I do not believe it was wise. I'm sorry. I don't agree with it. But it was a good last man standing match. I will take nothing from Josh. I don't take nothing from Hammerstone. I just wish that Hammerstone had won. He needs it if he's going to be in the company for a couple of months or more than a year. Because he feels like he can't get it done in the clinch against a real good wrestler. He feels like he can't get shit done. And that's not what you want with someone who just came into the company. I'm sorry. They may be fine with it. I'm not. Moving on. Now, Jordan Grace, Stat Delander. Seeing a 5'3" go up against a 5'11" woman. It was interesting. Seeing that Staff Delander was dominating the entire match. Until she wasn't. Until we got basically Jordan Grace taking out the ref, trying to get Staff Delander. Then seeing her get nailed with the belt. And then seeing the lights go out. Khan, PCO was first. He nails everybody. And Stat Delander tries to use her women's charm to nail him. To try and grab. That's what she wanted to do because she already saw the helping hands get their asses whooped by him. She didn't want to take a chance. And she was ready to just, hello, darling. Oh, you look sexy. Grab! Try to grab his nuts. I think that's what she originally was going to go for. To try and throw him off. And she was about to get chokeslammed until Khan appeared. And throws him off the apron of the ring. And Tom says that he's gotten his revenge. How? How did he get his revenge? He didn't get any revenge. He just threw him off the ring. That's not revenge. Seeing that he gave a pie face to a little bit of Jordan Grace was good. And he was about to snap that neck of Jordan Grace until he stopped by Sami Callihan, which that was a pleasant surprise. Sami is back. I'm fine with it. I'm glad to see it. Shame we still don't get Su Yung. Why isn't she back yet? I really wish Su Yung would come back to TNA. One of the few women I think would be great to see back there because we do need to see her. And why is she still on the main roster active? I believe she's still there. Unless she's working in the back. But seeing him there was good. Seeing that he took out everyone including Khan was good. Seeing that it helped the match and Jordan Grace managed to retain. Great. But now what are they going to do with Sami? Sami left to take a break and work on Wrestling Revolver, I do believe. There was some people thought he was going to go to AEW, but that wasn't him. That was, who was the one that we thought was him but wasn't? I can't remember. I'm forgetting, I'm blanking. I think, Adam Copeland. Adam. That's when he appeared. When I thought it might have been Sami, but it was Adam. But it was good to see. I just hope they'll do something with him. Now, here we go. Final match. Nick Nimitz versus Moose for the World Heavyweight Championship. Nick's brother Brian was there, and I believe his dad was there. So they were watching the match. The match was actually quite good. Seeing a 20-year veteran, plus veteran, in a Nick Nimitz working with a nearing 10-year veteran in a Moose was actually quite nice to see. It was something I think Moose is going to take away from. I hope he learned a good amount from Nick, because Nick is a very good, very well-detailed pro wrestler when it comes to his ring work, when it comes to leading a match, because he is a ring general. He may not be the greatest wrestler, but he's a very well-rounded wrestler that can make a match work very well. And I did enjoy the match. It was a good match. Nick didn't win. So the question for me is this, and I'm sure it's going to be a question for you: what now? Let's make this clear. We have no idea how long his contract is with TNA. It could be a couple of months. It could be a year. Even if they're letting him go off to other places, the question is right now, what are they going to do with him? How are they going to book him? When will we see him again? Will we see him next week? I don't know. This is going to be a big question that we have here. And then, as the match was over and Nick rolled out of the ring, and he took a big beating. I'm going to say that clearly. He took a big beating in that match, which was quite good. We get Matt Hardy coming back. Yes! And everyone loved it. He holds up the title. But how are they going to book Matt? Look, let's make this clear. This was a surprisingly good show. Yes. But now we got 3 new people on the roster. We got Nick. We got Matt. We got Sammy. And we got how can I say this? Because there's a little more than just those 3. Because you got to be able to book Mustafa Ali. You got to be able to book Steve Macklin. You got to book Matt. You got to book Nick. You got to book Sammy. You got to book, who am I blanking? I'm forgetting somebody. Someone that came back and I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting? Oh, Santana. There you go. Another one. For some reason I was blanking on Santana. You got about 5 to near 6 people you need to start booking. And not just have them sit around and do nothing. The question, we really need to know how they're going to book these shows. Guys, as much as you like the shows, we still don't know how they're going to be booking going forward. It's been 4 months since they transitioned from Impact to TNA. Now, I'm not telling you the show was bad. It was surprisingly good. But the camera work is still a problem. The equipment seems to be a problem because we had audio glitches like crazy. We did. See it like this. We still have problems with people running the cameras. We still have problems with the cameras. We still have problems with the lighting. We still have problems with the audio. We have all those problems. On top of it, we don't know how they're going to book going forward. As much as I've heard the rumors that they're going to go live, I don't see that happening. They already talked about TNA Impact doing 2 nights. That means they're going to do recordings. If these people do not understand, they need to change up what they're doing. They need to retrain their cameramen or get new cameramen that are willing to move around and actually film what's going on and then film correctly. They need to check and see if they can get better audio equipment. They need to get new cameras. If they need to get handy cams, in other words, those type of cameras that are not connected to anything, and they pretty much are 100% mobile. You can hold them any way you want. They got gyroscopes on them, and you can send signals to the production truck so you can see. If you got to get those, along with getting new cameramen who have been trained correctly, they could have more better work. As it stands right now, this was a good pay-per-view, but does not mean they will still get a good product going forward. They got to work on all their production, and they got to work on how they're going to book people. I am still not sure how things are going to go, but I am open to it, and I liked how things were done here. But this is just me. Peace.